Well, we're back after a couple of weeks, and I've got my board back from BATEE.com, and along with some instructions. And just so you know, the first instruction, of course, is to make sure the negative battery terminal is removed. I've already done that, and so we're ready to go. We're ready to put these boards for the HVAC Climate Control Programmer back in to my box, which I left up under the dash, and I just removed the board. So what I got back from BATEE.com was the capacitors that they removed. I got my solenoid board back. This is the vacuum solenoid board, and you can see they put new filters on there. It's all cleaned up and ready to go. And you want to be careful with static electricity. You can see they shipped this back in a anti-static bag. So there's my circuit board that has come back, and we'll be getting that out here in a minute and putting that up in there. And so that's what came back, and I'm all ready to go. You can see I've got pretty much everything out here. In the meantime, while I was waiting for the boards to come back, I managed to find, you may recall, that my secondary locks on both sides that hold these wires in, they're held in with the pins, but there's a secondary lock, and these are them. And those combs or secondary locks go in here and go into the plug, and they put additional pressure on the pins so that when you're pushing down on it to put it in to the jack that's on the board, they don't come loose, okay? And that's the purpose of them. The second purpose, so you may recall, so here's my original locking comb, and it busted off when I first went to take it off, and that's fine. It made it easier to come off because it broke, so that goes like that. On Mouser.com, I managed to find that they do have these, and I'll put the model number there in the screen. So I managed to get a hold of a new lock, and now the comb will go lock into the plug, and this will now lock into the socket on the circuit boards that are in the box once they're in there. I also had you may recall, and I don't have this to show you, but my other comb also broke off. The tab here broke off. Not the end of the world. It doesn't do anything. The tab is only for really getting leverage to get to the other side. Mine snapped off, but luckily I had another donor model that I had, or a box that I had, and it had the jack in it, and its gray secondary lock was good. So I took it off of that unit, and I'm going to use it on mine. So when I'm done here in a second, I'm going to have a complete plug that is the way it's supposed to be. And by getting these from Mouser, what I was able to do now, I was planning to secure my plug on the box with the going through the jack and securing it with these zip ties, but now I don't have to do that since I've got the official lock that goes on there. I didn't want the plug to wiggle loose with a vibration. Okay, I also in the meantime made a new cover for my box. You may recall that it was disintegrated when I took the box out of there after 32 years. This is a 94 Vet, and it was nothing but dust. So I created a pattern, made a new one. I'm going to put that in the back of my box once I put the boards in there and before I rotate it. And that's so we're ready to go. So the other thing that I cleaned the plug, by the way. I went through and cleaned the plug. I took some contact cleaner, and there's many brands out there. But I cleaned my jacks because you can see there was a little bit of corrosion in there. So I cleaned them up, and they look good now. And finally, the painter's tape, I'm ready to go. So one of the things that we talked about when we were in the tips was how the screws come out on you. And you can see I'm ready to go. Once I'm ready to put the box back in, my screw is not going to come out of there. And I've got the tape on my nut driver that I'm going to use for the little bitty nuts that I'm going to put the boards back in, or screws that I'm going to put the boards back in with. And so that little trick will allow me to put the screw in here, and as I'm moving the nut driver around, it will stay in there, and then I can get up in there and put it in there where it belongs. Okay, so that's just a little trick, and it'll pull right back off of the screw once you get it started. Okay, so with that, I'm ready to get started. The negative battery terminal's off. I'm ready to put them in, and just so you know, remember my vacuum lines are still hooked up to the box. You can see them there. There's the vacuum lines going to the from the box to the solenoids or the actuators that are moving the vents. And so once I have the boards in, I can actually put the I'll put the combs back in. By the way, I'll put the combs back in here where they belong, and then we'll go from there. And I will test it before I rotate the box all the way back there and put it back on the firewall above the hump and the gas pedal. And I'll show you that when I'm ready. And then we'll test it and see how if we've got success. Okay. Let me lock these in, and let's see if we can get this to lock in for you. And first thing is, let's see this. That side goes there. And that's in. Hopefully you can see that. And the other comb goes on this side. And it's going to lock in also. Okay, those are wire locks or secondary locks. Okay, I call them wire combs. Interchangeable. That's how the jacks should look. When I took mine out, this had busted off and this had busted off, and both those tabs went. But now, and see, the only purpose of the gray is to get leverage. So when you push on that, then you can pull the plug out. And by the way, it's very hard to pull that plug out. So once that locks in, of course, it's not going to wiggle out of there at all. Okay, so let's get busy and put the boards in, and I'll be right back to you when we're ready to test it. And so I'm ready now to get up under here, and I just wanted to show you I've got my tape ready. And once I put that screw in there and I pull back, that tape will pop right out of there. I'll put the next screw in, and we'll continue that process. So using the painter's tape really helps with gravity and keeping that in there so that we can work on it. The other thing that I've done is I've put my knee pad over top of that bolt, so that when I lay in here, my back is not going to get killed. And I found, by the way, the best way to get up under here is the steering wheel's all the way up. My seat is out, of course, and I like to sit on the edge here backwards. I'll lay in across here, put my head between the steering wheel and the panel here, and dip right on in there, and that's the way I come out. Through that side there is the easier way for me to get in and out of there. Okay, so here we go. We're going to put the boards in. The boards are sitting right there. I'll reach up for them when I'm ready for them, and we'll put them in. The large board goes in. The motherboard, green motherboard, goes in first, and then the second board. I'll hook everything up, including the power now, and I've got the jack completely in, as you can see. And we're going to hook all that back up, and then I'll test it before I rotate the box and put it up on its bracket in the back there and permanently mount it. And I'll also put the backing back on the box as soon as I'm ready. Okay, here we go. All right, I've got that reinstalled, and I won't sugarcoat it. Putting it in there's a lot harder. Putting the boards back in are a lot easier than coming out, because you got to overcome gravity. The boards want to drop down on you. So anyway, they're in. I've rotated the box just a little bit to make sure that the lines aren't kinked for the vacuum lines, and I still haven't put that one connector in there for the vent system, but we ought to be able to see and hear the vents work. I'm not sure if that drives up. I'm pretty sure that might drive what's going on up in the defrost, but let's make sure that the box is functioning and working after all of that. So BATEE.com or BATEE.com says to put the car, just turn it on for 5 minutes. And so the good news is at least we got some lights, and hit the auto button and let it set for 5 minutes while that box, the programmer box, does a self-calibration. So we'll wait for that, and then we're going to try this. Then we're going to start the car. That's the next process. So stand by. We'll be right back. Okay, so we're ready now to start it, and it's been more than 5 minutes. So let's, I'm going to open up the garage door. And let's start it up and check the system out. Okay, so we got it on auto. I'm going to turn it on off. Yeah, that part's working. And let's get some, let's try some heat. Okay, I feel the air blowing down below. Let's try the defrost here. Oh, the fan, we got the fan. Okay, oh yeah, we got defrost now. We got fan control. So it's functioning it as it should be. Let's turn that off. I don't need that on. And there's defrost coming down below, and it's blowing down here. I can feel it. Okay. And let's try above. Yes, it's coming out of the vents here. So that's working now. And the compressor just kicked on. There's the above and below. And just a little trick for you if you don't know this. If you want the defrost, the heat, the defrost, and also on your feet, you're going to hold these two buttons simultaneously. That's the only way to get these to do that. So we're going to hold those, and now it's coming out of both down below. The heat is on, and it's coming out of the above. Okay, so this appears to be working, and I can set the temperature now. So the programmer was definitely the problem, and now I'm going to see if I can rotate the box, and I'll disconnect the battery again and get back under there, and see if I can get under there and get that box rotated back on the bracket and button that up, and then we'll be ready to put all the crush plate and the hush bar, that's hush panel that goes on here back in, and then eventually the seat. So that's a successful project, and I'll let you know when I've rotated that box. That is definitely tight in there. I got to remember how I managed to get that to rotate like I did and get it back in position. Okay, I got it rotated. I just want to show you what it looks like when you're up in here now, if you can see all this. And there are the vacuum lines that come off of the unit. And I stuck a couple of stickers on there so that people would know I'd been here and what that box is, if anybody ever looks. I'm going to put the screw back in, but you can see the bracket that it's resting on. Okay, I got my new backing behind there, my new cardboard backing, and the electrical cords on the top up there. You can see just the gray tab and the vacuum lines, and there's some of the, that's one of the solenoids right there, that the pink solenoid that it goes to. And there's a blue one also down here. I don't know if you can see that or not, but anyway, those are some of the solenoids that that the programmer is driving with the vacuum system. Okay, so I'll put the screw back in, and she's sitting on the shelf where she belongs, and I'm ready to put everything else back together. Okay, so I've got the vent tube hooked back up and put in place. You can see I put the bolt on, and the cable goes back in there, and all of that underneath here is done, and just need to put on the crash bar or the crush plate and the hush panel and the seat, and we're ready to go. So let's get started.